This video was made possible in part thanks to footage of Fantasyland, provided by YouTube user Lake Nipissing. Check out his channel at youtube.com/Lake Nipissing. And now, on with the show. In 1981, what would eventually become the world's largest mall opened its doors for the first time. Back then, West Edmonton Mall was only as big as its Phase 1 section is today. But don't be fooled. Even from the beginning, the plans for the mall always centered around one pivotal concept: to be the biggest and the best. A concept with which it succeeded for decades, as it was the largest mall in the world from the mid-1980s through 2004. The mall's Phase 2 expansion, just a few years after the mall's initial opening, would eventually bring with it the largest indoor amusement park on Earth, Fantasyland. No, not that Fantasyland. Though, you can't blame one for thinking about Disney when you hear the name Fantasyland, can you? No, this Fantasyland was just a tad more north. Close to 1,800 miles north to be more precise. The park first opened in 1983 with final completion wrapping up in 1985. Even though it was already open, once it was fully completed, it held its grand opening in 1986, alongside the World Water Park's grand opening in the same year. Back when the park first opened, it was quite different than the amusement park we see in the mall today. While some rides remain in place, like the park's original roller coasters, the Mine Bender and the Auto Sled, many rides have come and gone. Still others were rethemed, like the train ride. The original version of the train ride through the park was called the Fantasyland Express. It was themed as a steam engine style locomotive. The theme of the ride matched the theme of the park, a throwback to the old-timey 1900s. Fantasyland's theme was complete with mock building decor and hot air balloons. In fact, the balloons were a prominent item in representing the park, as they were featured in all of the signage for Fantasyland. The hot air balloons used to hang directly over the kids' play area. Early on, one of the balloons was actually available to ride. A small platform would take the operator and riders skyward above the kids' area. However, due to very low capacity and long lines, rides on the balloon were eventually put to a stop. The kids' area also used to feature dark tunnels, behind what today has been restyled to look like purple space rock. Evidence of the tunnel's existence is still visible today, their entrances having been boarded up and painted purple to match their surroundings. It's hard to fathom these days, but when the park opened, it operated daily until midnight. Yeah, impossible to believe, I know, considering the park today closes at 7 p.m. on most days. But back then, long after the stores had closed and most of the shoppers had gone home, you could still hear the sound of the Mine Bender echoing through the empty mall concourse. Fantasyland had a lot going for it, but from day one, it had a target on its back. When mentioning the name, you may have immediately thought of Disneyland, or Disney World. Well, the Disney Corporation thought the exact same thing. In fact, when West Edmonton Mall's Fantasyland originally opened in 1983, Disney immediately sent a letter to 555 Corporation, who own and operate the mall, stating their objections to the mall's use of the name Fantasyland. But 555's thoughts were that when people think of Disneyland, they think Disneyland, not Fantasyland. When it became clear that simple letters and objections weren't going to be enough, Disney decided to flex their legal muscle. And so, Disney sued the mall for their use of the name Fantasyland. And McDonald's started carrying pizza. Remember that? The opening arguments from Disney's law team made it clear. We're not looking for money. We want them to stop. And it truly wasn't about money. The lawsuit itself claimed only $1 in damages. What the suit really wanted to prove was ownership of the name Fantasyland. And that was the major part of the lawsuit. Disney did not want the name Fantasyland to be used anywhere aside from within their own Disney parks. On the other side of the courtroom, West Edmonton Mall's 555 Corporation claimed that they actually didn't realize the name Fantasyland was being used by Disney when they chose it. It wasn't something they chose intentionally, knowing that Disney was using it at the same time. But that was beside the point. Now that the name was in place, 555 estimated the cost of rebranding their park in the millions. Around $5 million to be exact. Additionally, it seemed that the mall did have one legal leg to stand on, as at the time, Disney had not trademarked the name Fantasyland in either the province of Alberta nor in the country of Canada. One of the mall's statements was that people aren't getting confused between the two Fantasylands. They claimed that people in fact aren't flying to Edmonton, Canada, expecting to arrive and see Mickey Mouse and the rest of Disneyland. They even brought in a witness from Prince Edward Island, where yet another Fantasyland exists, Fantasyland Provincial Park. A fairy tale themed destination with a picnic area, pony ride, and larger than life statues of Goldilocks, the Three Little Pigs, the Wizard of Oz, and more. The mall's point was to show that, between the two, Disney did use the name Fantasyland first. However, Disney did not themselves create it. They only made it popular and marketed it well enough for many to associate it with Disney. To this end, the mall brought in another witness, an expert in word origins. The expert witness concluded that evidence of the written word goes back to only 1958, but he was quote-unquote pretty sure that the word could be traced back as early as the 14th century. Disney's lawyers of course scoffed at this testimony, as no dictionary contained the word Fantasyland before 1958, not until after Disney had opened its first theme park and marketed the name.
The people and eyes around the world are focused on these 160 acres here in Anaheim, California. This afternoon, Disneyland, the world's most fabulous kingdom, will be unveiled before an invitational world premiere.
They logically argued that it was likely Disney's promotion which resulted in the term finally being included in a documented written text. After all arguments were made, the courts ruled in favor of Disney. 555 Corporation tried to appeal, but the Supreme Court of Canada refused to hear it. So, it was finally over. Disney's dispute spanned a full decade, 10 years of arguments both inside and outside of the courtroom. Now, West Edmonton Mall's amusement park was without a name. In fact, for a short time, it was operated under and marketed as just that title, the amusement park at West Edmonton Mall. In spring of 1993, a contest was announced for people to submit their ideas for a new name for West Edmonton Mall's Fantasyland. The contest received over 23,000 entries. The winning name was of course what we know the park as today, Galaxyland. The mall had fought hard and invested many legal dollars into the fight, but it realized soon after it didn't actually make as big of a difference as they anticipated. It seems it was more of an egotistical issue. A representative was quoted as saying, "It was so important to us, so emotionally charged, that we were convinced we were right, and we felt the rest of the world felt that way." As a small consolation, the mall did eventually win one legal battle against Disney. They were allowed to keep using the name of their hotel, the Fantasyland Hotel, and it still carries that name today. Many West Edmonton Mall fans agree, the biggest loser was the park itself. It once carried character and charm within its theming and decor, but when it changed names, all of that was completely whitewashed over with purple and yellow fiberglass. So much fiberglass. Now only a shadow of its former self, any traces of what it might have been paved over in the name of easier maintenance, lower costs, over-the-top unnecessary safety procedures, and expanding casinos. I can't help but wonder, if the mall had won their battle to use the original name, could the timeline have been altered from the chain reaction which led to the park's current state of affairs? On this, we can only speculate. The next time you're at the mall, try to step back in time and see the park as it once was. West Edmonton Mall's Fantasyland. Do you remember when Galaxyland was known as Fantasyland? If you had to rename it, which name would you pick? Let us know in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe, like, and share. It really helps us out. And we're now logged onto the internets using the Twitters. And why not check out one of our other videos? All about the greatest indoor show on earth, West Edmonton Mall. Oh, and thanks for watching.